I like to think this doctor came in, finished chugging his beer, threw it out, smashed it on the ground. If you can't feel your back, you're not gonna feel the pain. You're just gonna burn the shit out of your nerve. Welcome to Rewatchers on the Pod. This is your fill-in host, Tyler McKinley, and co-hosts
Justin Hammer.
Katie McKinley.
Gwen Hammer.
And Tyler Harris is out with there's a problem with his plumbing, and so he's taking care of that. We wish him the best and a full recovery.
His actual plumbing, not his plumbing, but the plumbing.
We can't confirm or deny that. We just got a text. Anyway, since I did the summary anyway, I'm going to hit you up with this perfectly accurate summary, and it will not be read nearly as beautifully and fluently as Tyler Harris, but I will try. Okay, here we go. We're watching The Leftovers, and we watched episodes 5 and 6, so here we go. People's music listening habits in this show make me question that there is hope and good in this world. Matt pulls out the Bill Murray trying to get laid logic and works about just as well as it did in Groundhog Day. Matt comes face to face with the devil, the American medical system. Matt calls urine shit, a truly lost man. Matt is in one hell of a pickle but doesn't seem to recognize it as a pickle. Matt gets a wrench thrown into his plans. John gives Matt a hand, but that would ruin his Job vibe, so Matt cuts that hand off and throws it into Mount fucking Doom. Burning Man hippies can kiss my ass. Matt seeks out the Swedish samurai. Matt gets sent on a video game fetch quest. There's a scene involving a paddle, the name Brian, and it feels like something ripped out of a Tarantino movie. Matt and Mary riding down a drain. SLIDING. First comes Nora, then comes the trunk, then comes an army of vengeful goats sent by God to kill that fucker who stole Matt's wristbands. Matt wants to play the role of Quasimodo for the Theater in the Park production of The Hunchback of Miracle, Texas. Episode 6. Tommy Wiseau is on the heated phone call, probably someone accusing him of hitting her. Tommy is also a man of science, but unlike me, he is not an expert people person. Nora rocks. John is confused why someone might not like him. Shocker. George wants somebody to talk to. Erica is committing bird genocide. Nora wants the answers to the ACT. Nora pulls out some plays from the old Nora Durst playbook. Michael has lavish ideas of romance. This is evident when he asks Jill to the fundraiser. Dame Judi Dench thinks Nora is in league with demons. Erica gets pie-bombed. Angela Abar has another dad reveal. Erica has had it with men in his household. Men in this household. Tommy is missing. Erica has had it with everyone in this town. Erica is going to leave John. Erica wishes upon a bird. Nora pokes a bear and gets bit. Kevin phrases his confession really poorly. He tells her about Patty, which is what she wanted him to do earlier, but now says that was the wrong move. Classic Patty, fuck her. Erica rocks.
Did I miss a Tommy bit at the beginning of episode 6?
Tommy Wiseau. It was a reference to Tommy Wiseau from The Room, because that guy looked like him.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that.
And that's like the famous line. He's like, I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not understand that reference. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's probably best that you didn't. All right, so episodes 5 and 6, both kind of character-based, where definitely 5 is focused on Matt more, and the 6 is focused on a split kind of between Nora and Erica. I'm going to ask a different kind of question. Which was your guys' favorite episode of these two, and why?
I liked episode 5 more. I have really enjoyed the episodes that we've focused on Matt, just because he's so frustrating, but it's really good to like be frustrated with Matt. I don't know. he's just a really fun character to explore. And also, I think episode 6, like the way that it treated Matt's adventure from episode 5 was super head scratcher for me because like it made everything feel super cheap, like the fact that he got up in the stocks at the end of that, and then in episode 6 it's like, oh, he's out. It's just Matt being Matt again and doing his thing. So that was kind of a letdown. But anyways, episode 5 was really cool. I like that one a lot.
I kind of liked it that it was just all of a sudden over because he went and put himself in the stocks for all this pain and punishment. And then it was like, oh, it doesn't matter because he's out now, which kind of like Matt is looking for or trying to put meaning on suffering, I feel like. And so just having his suffering be randomly over feels thematically accurate.
Yeah,
if that
I
makes
guess
sense.
now that you say that, I also am thinking like maybe episode 5 was like from, I mean, obviously it was Matt's perspective. So maybe that's why like it was so dramatic and over the top and everything. Cause like, and then episode 6, it's not because everybody's looking at what Matt's going through and just being like, nah, whatever. It's Matt. Who cares? So maybe we're getting a taste of how Matt feels about his own life in episode 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get the Job obsession. I mean, like, I get it, but I don't get it.
I think it's a Job mental illness at this point. Like,
Yeah.
I think he needs some serious therapy. He fucks up his life all by himself. He doesn't need God to help him. Like, when he pulled off to the side of the road to help that guy, I was like, Matt, we've done this before. Like, how many people are you going to help and get totally fucked over? I don't know.
I think that's what makes Matt so interesting is stuff like that. It's unclear what his motivations actually are in moments like that. Because it's like, is he actually trying to be a good person and help this guy? Or is he just like, a burden to put on myself? Like, is that the mentality that's going into it? And the great part about Matt is like, I don't know in that moment, like, which it is. And I still don't, even after like analyzing it. It could go either way.
Or both.
That is true, yeah. And that's, I don't know. I think Matt and honestly, Matt and Nora, the two siblings, are some of the most interesting characters in this show. I think their motivations are the most compelling and honestly handled with the best touch out of a lot of things in this show. Because I mean, I've felt that a lot of things in this show have felt rushed with certain characters. Like, I mean, Jill's a completely different person now. I mean, there's a brief moment with her in this show. She's like totally the most. I mean, she's great now. She's the most level-headed person out of all of them. And it was like, oh, you go back to sleep. I'll take the baby. I'm just this responsible adult now. More responsible than her dad, who just leaves the fucking kid out in the thing.
All it took was a house fire. That's it.
Almost getting burnt to death. It's the baptism of fire, becoming a new person.
So what's Garvey's problem? He almost got burnt to death, too.
Garvey has a woman talking about defecating on her husband in his head, so it's a little distracting.
I can't remember the actor's name that plays Garvey, but he has the most, like, the perfect, like, confused look on his face all of the time. Like, that's just, like, this standard Garvey look that just, he pulls that off really well.
That
This is
actor,
open mouth, like, what is going on? Look.
Yeah.
It's really good.
He looks like kind of like one of the actors from Lost, and they have like the same face shape, the same coloring, and they both have like, they almost look like they have eyeliner on. And it's like,
is he the guy that's also in one of the Batman movies? Is he the mayor?
yeah, he's
in Batman?
the mayor. Yeah, he looks like that.
Is
guy.
that not eyeliner?
No, it's not. As far as I can tell.
What in the world?
Yeah. But Garvey's actor person, it's not quite as dramatic, but he has that same sort of vibe. And so this is building my theory that it's just Lost again.
I mean, we did get that song about I am on the island or I am the island or whatever. I haven't watched Lost, so I just know what happens on an island. And then, yeah.
Some of it
The
happens
song-
in Australia,
That's true. Yeah.
which is also an island.
But Matt is the focus of episode 5, and he has to go to his medical appointments out of town, which I mean makes a lot of sense because I don't think they have a lot of high class medical facilities in national parks. But yeah, I think that's an interesting also world building thing along with it. I mean, we've already done a lot of great world building in Miracle and how all that works together, but just being smart enough to be like, oh, Matt has to get this thing done. Obviously, he's got to leave. They didn't just be like, oh, well, we'll just bullshit a hospital here or something. It's like, no, they have to go out, and then they have to go through all the process steps of their wristband shit and everything. And that obviously gets complicated when he goes to help that guy.
I do think that detail is a little shaky because I feel like a place like this, it kind of bothered me because like wouldn't they have like better record keeping? Like they would have known like, oh yeah, this is the dude that just moved in. Like you lost your wristband.
Yeah,
I know there's all the issues of the people outside, but like
There's only 6,000 people or something
we
like
gotta-
that in the town.
that's like one of the things we have to like accept in order for this whole event, like this whole episode to take place, is the fact that like he can't get back in without his wristband, and all this stuff happens because of that. But like I don't know, that was just one small
I guess
thing.
I'm confused on what Matt's status is in the town because I was on the impression that he had property there, but
Yeah.
in this episode it doesn't seem like that. It seems like he is only there with like essentially like a work visa, essentially.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
His wristband is only for ministering purposes. And is he just squatting? Like,
Yeah, I guess. I
There's
mean, we
like
saw
that little
that.
hostel.
Yeah, the
that
shack
was-
or whatever
yeah.
it is that he lives in. But still, like you'd think
So
they
I
have
could-
better.
I could maybe see that, like, but yeah, you think they would be attached to like your identification.
Yeah.
Like,
Just call up the pastor. Like, hey, we got this guy who says that you sponsored him or whatever. Is he legit?
Yeah.
They
or
probably
have
get people like that all the time, though. Sorry, Katie.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, like just have a number on your badge that is attached to a photo of you that they take before you come in. Like it's literally like work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the right number on your badge / wristband, you don't get into the place. Like
yeah.
they're not very well organized.
I mean,
Get your shit together, Miracle. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
Right.
I mean, we all have some experience with like a particular religious organization or place where you have
That's
to
true,
have a
yeah.
certain card to get in, and if you forget it and you say "fuck" in the main room when you forget that where you are, and you're like, "Call my fucking bishop," and that's all you do. You just say, "Call your fucking bishop," and they call him, and they're like, "Oh yeah, he's cool." Like, if we're talking that level of strict, I mean. Yeah, these guys could pull it off, I think. But this guy who he gets attacked by. Oh no, wait. Well, I just skipped a major point. I mean, first we get to the hospital and like Matt's just doing the tests, and he is gonna leave, and then he gets kind of a bomb dropped on him that his wife is pregnant, which is a huge can of worms.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a weird thing that I noticed. It's not a big deal, but like that guy who they got to be the dude who tells him, his performance fucking nailed it. Like it's that perfect blend. Like you risk that role being someone who's too nice,
Yeah.
or who's too mean. He's like the perfect level of like, he's like, and if she can't consent to sign the form, she can't consent to do anything. You get it? Like
Yeah.
you're fucked. So yeah, that's a huge thing because you have a guy who's claiming that, you know, she came back for a bit and that's when they did the deed, and then
which is what a guy would say to get around the fact that his comatose-ish wife is pregnant. Like, oh yeah, she woke up for just like 15 minutes.
yeah,
It was great.
that's a tough one. I mean, I'm sure something like this has happened.
There was a woman, I think just last year, who was in a coma who ended up pregnant. And she was like in a hospital and like didn't have visitors. So it was one
Oh,
of the
no.
people
Oh,
taking
gosh.
care of her. Yeah.
I mean, that's like
They
a
had to take paternity tests, I
Yeah,
think.
that
Kill
one's
Bill type of a thing.
that one's a lot more. I
That's
feel like easy
terrible.
to prosecute. I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that would work out legally for if anyone was like. Yeah, I have zero clue how that would work. But I don't know. I mean, I guess this kind of comes down to the same thing we've been talking about the show over the past couple episodes of like, is this one of those things that's a coincidence thing, or is it like an actual miracle that happened type of thing?
Yeah.
And
I started Googling, like, do comatose people wake up and then go back to sleep. And I just like with the 5 minutes of Googling, I couldn't find anything other than the longer they're comatose, the less likely it is that they'll wake up. And she's been comatose for 3+ years. So, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a weird thing because it's like, is Matt? Because I don't know. I get the vibe that Matt truly does believe that that happened.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't think he would have just raped her.
Yeah, I don't think he's lying per se, but it's unclear. With obviously Matt is a little delusional and has seen paintings move and thinks he's Job. So it's like, did he like do that to himself? Was it a dream? I don't know.
There was one moment when he was like in trouble for beating up that guy in line. When the lady asked if Mary was faking it, and then the other guy was like, she says he's going to die if you don't get back. So was that guy real? Otherwise, why would he why did he say that very specific thing that he couldn't have pulled out of nowhere?
I mean, to me, that felt like Matt is in a mental state of like, now he's here. Like, to me, that made me wonder if Mary actually woke up or if Matt's going crazy. And that's like,
And he's hearing other people say
yeah,
stuff.
and he's creating that narrative where other people are like confirming that because he's hearing. I mean, Mary said that in the car when he was on the ground. Like, she didn't wake up, I don't think, for that. I think that was just in his mind. But like, how much of that is in his mind and how much of that is if that actually happened, type of a thing.
I mean, this show is maybe super cynical at this point. Like, I'm like, nothing
Yeah.
fucking happens.
Yep.
Like,
It all happens and it doesn't happen. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
yeah, like the only two things that actually have happened are people disappearing. Well, the main disappearance, and then technically Evie disappearing and her friends. Was that her name, Evie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we still haven't gotten any answers on like, I guess the lake drained because of the earthquake.
I think that's a thing that happens, right?
I mean, I'm
Like,
sure
bodies of water drain after earthquakes, or sometimes before.
I'm not sure, but I don't know. When I first saw it, I got the vibe that like they were in it when it drained, so they could have
Yeah.
been
That's what I was thinking too.
gone somewhere. But they're all like, the doors were locked in the car and all this stuff. But I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe they accidentally locked the keys in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, and then they were running through the forest naked in that first episode, so it's like, and they were super weird coming back from the car that
Yeah.
first episode, so it's like, I feel like maybe they just were, this is a fake, and they're trying to fake and
We just want to run naked through the forest forever, and people
or
aren't
get
letting
out
us
of
do our
Miracle
lives.
and start their own 16-year-old lives.
Yeah.
They're all 16. Yeah, all those
16
things.
years old, Daddy.
Not a child.
I'm going to say they're 18 because I've seen them running naked through the forest. So just
They better
make
be
sure.
18.
Well,
yeah,
the
gotta be.
actresses are definitely over 18. The storyline people, I think, are probably around 17, 18, probably.
I
They're
don't
still
know.
in high school, which is uncomfortable.
Just makes me help me with my
They're
not be
choir
uncomfortable.
girls.
That doesn't help.
Yeah, now I feel better.
But yeah, Matt is in a bit of a predicament, and he doesn't seem to really understand the gravity of that at first, and he's just like super happy that his wife is pregnant, and also kind of doesn't understand the gravity of the odd, like he tells him like there's very little chance this baby is going to survive it all. He's like, nah, man,
We're good.
we live in Magicville. I just got to get her back in.
It's
So
a miracle that she's pregnant. We couldn't get pregnant before. Now she's pregnant. This is a sign from God.
So that's his deal, trying to get back in when he gets attacked by that guy who has his own reasons of really wanting to get in. I assume to do with his son.
Mm-hmm.
His son looked ill. But yeah, so they get their wristbands taken, and he can't get back in. Does he? Wait, he gets back in though first, doesn't he?
Yeah, he convinces the guard that he lives there, and the guy's like, "You need to go to the visitor center."
And is
to
that
get
when John
replacements."
meets up
Yep.
with him?
Yeah, because Kevin hasn't been in long enough to
Vouch
sponsor
for
him or
him.
vouch for him or something
Yeah.
like that. So John's the only one that can apparently.
John, who has complete town jurisdiction as a fireman.
Yep.
But yeah, so then him and John get into a bit of an altercation, and once again, if it's Matt just looking for another opportunity to suffer or what, but he has to get the last word in, which then fucks him over, and John changes his mind when he asks him, like, what happened to you? Why do you hate this place so much?
Yeah.
And John, just being that wonderful, nice guy that he is, tells him he'll have to decline. And then then he sends him back out, essentially. And so you have this man pushing his wife in a wheelchair through Burning Man, which fucking sucks. Like, anytime we're in that area, I like get my skin starts itching. I'm like, I gotta get out of here.
Anytime you've been in Burning Man?
No,
area?
anytime
Is
we're
what you're
in
talking-
that scene.
Oh, got it.
Honestly, anytime I see pictures of Burning Man, I feel the same way.
I need sunscreen and a shower and
I
some
need
water.
a biohazard
watching
suit.
that.
You know, like, yeah, you see, I know what that place smells like. Like I can smell that, and
Weed and sweat.
and cheap beer. It's just like covered on everybody's bodies. Yep.
And BO. So much BO. You know those hippies aren't wearing deodorant.
Yeah.
No, and their trailers aren't like hooked up to plumbing or anything. It's not like a trailer park, so they don't have working toilets in there or showers or anything.
Yeah, man. It's like the negatives of every large group event you could go to, but just the negatives all combined into one. It's like the gross body odor of Comic-Con with just like the people who are drugged out of their minds at any concert I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Like just the violence that takes place for no fucking reason. Because people are just tripping, man. So
And so much nudity. It's like everyone's just taking their shirts off, and it's like, okay, I guess this is cool here.
I mean,
Walking in heels on people's backs, because why not?
Spanking you with an oar and telling you if it's from Brian.
Brian.
Some odd shit going down.
yeah, got some weird kinks happening, and yeah, I don't know. It's just a very bad place for Matt to be, with no one who gives a fucking shit that this woman is, in the state she's in a wheelchair. Really want to help out, but Matt is really looking for a man with a samurai bun. That's how he words that is
Have
wonderful.
you seen the man with the samurai bun? There's a samurai here? Where?
Because that man is like, if a man asks me that, that's not the man I think of
Yeah.
when they say a samurai bun. But this Swedish guy who was definitely coated his gums in cocaine is tweaking hard, and but is willing to show them a back way in for $1,000. How does he get
The
that
back way.
$1,000, Justin? Oh, he has 400, so he needs.
Yeah, he's got. So he goes to spank a big guy and say, and not daddy, Brian.
Maybe it's Daddy Brian.
Daddy Brian, yeah. I was a little bit confused. Like, I'm assuming it was just the fact that this lady had a cross. Like, is that it? Was that as complex as that was? Like, she
Yeah.
has a cross, so therefore,
I mean,
I'm a
that's-
Christian. You're a Christian. You're gonna give me money.
He's like, you're religious, so you must want to do good and help people in need,
Yeah.
and I need $500.
To be fair, she grilled him, and so she knows her shit.
That's not that surprising, and I feel like, because, I mean, you served a mission. Like,
Yeah.
when you mention Jesus Christ, they're like, sweet. Then they're like, oh, you're Mormon. Fuck you. Like, it's,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like that's within character for Matt. He's in a scary place with people who don't speak his language per se. So he sees a sign. I mean, he probably takes that as a sign from God.
Yeah.
And goes this one who, man, these are a couple interesting people who, I feel
Yeah.
like it's such a weird scenario that he's found himself in, where there's like this quizzing, and he thinks he's gonna get some help from this woman, and she's like, I've got a request for you that you got to do first, and brings out this dude who really wants to be hit with an oar.
A giant oar. A regular oar. It wasn't even a giant oar.
And
Just a regular oar.
I'm pretty sure she says his name too, and his name is not Brian.
Yeah, I don't think his name was Brian. And the first thing I think that guy says when he comes out is he's not going to do it. Or is he going to do it?
Oh. The redheaded guy made Brian disappear. And he's doing penance for making Brian disappear.
Oh.
And he used to be a sailor. And that's how they punish you.
They were on a boat.
I mean, didn't she say something like it has to be a man of God that does this? So maybe it's like this weird
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting point. Like Gwen brings up, because like immediately I thought of like, oh, this is a kink of his with like,
Pastors.
yeah,
A pastor kink.
yeah.
Oh man, it didn't strike me as a kink at all. Like it seemed very like specifically personally religious to me.
But yeah, I think that's a good point. Is I didn't think of whether it's someone that he made disappear, or whether, I don't know, maybe he's joining a fraternity, because they hit each other with paddles all the time.
Brian wasn't there to perform the oar whacking.
I mean, that was actually, my dad was in a fraternity of all people at BYU, so I don't know what that means.
That doesn't count.
I would love to just spend a day.
But that was part of like the initiation, was they had this giant paddle. He said it was like really huge, big enough that they had to drill holes into it so the air wouldn't.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, that you had to get hit with that. And you pretty much got like hit against the wall. You got hit off your feet because you got hit in the butt so hard.
Jeez.
And
But you can't grow a beard at BYU. You can spank each other with paddles, but you can't grow a beard.
yeah, but they gave him like, they give you like a little replica of the paddle with everyone's name signed on it, apparently. So he still had that.
So
And
weird.
so maybe that was a thing. But then Matt fucking breaks this thing one-handed over this man, and gets his money, pays the Swedish samurai, and they're off to the rain.
Yeah. Of course, it had to happen at night in the rain.
I mean, he probably watched the weather report and he probably waited a whole day.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
I need
Yeah.
it to rain so I can suffer.
That's a good point.
And it wasn't clear whether or not that guy was honest with him of if that actually would lead them back into the park or not. But it doesn't really matter because they ain't getting back up that Seven Peaks water slide.
Poor
Gross.
Mary.
Yeah. I mean, from what they said, she's not conscious, really, of her surroundings.
I think Matt's like there's that scene where they're gonna take her blood or something, and the nurse asked if she would feel it, and Matt said, "I don't know," which
I thought someone else had said
is kind of terrifying.
in a different episode that she couldn't feel or register, and I took that as him being like, well, with her recent wake up, I don't know.
That's true. Yeah,
I could be wrong on that though. I might be misremembering.
yeah. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't know what the. I've never talked to anybody who's come out of a coma or been comatose at some point to know if they were aware of anything that was going on at that point. And I'm assuming it's probably different for everybody too.
Yeah.
I mean, lock-in syndrome is a thing.
That's true. Yeah.
Where you're trapped in your body.
Mm-hmm.
God.
Oh, that'd be the worst.
Just no way of communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wiggle your left toe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Matt gets kind of back because of Nora.
Yeah, she
Nora's
sneaks
there,
him
yep.
into the trunk.
Oh, she's like
Yep.
calling out for him, and he sees her there. Yeah, and they go in the trunk, right?
Yep. And then she drives him back. They see a bunch of goats.
Damn goats.
Are they like the dogs of
Mary.
Jarden?
Yeah, all the dogs are locked up. Probably because that guy from New York was like, I'm out of here because of this murder thing. Goes to Texas and becomes a security guard at the Jarden gates and is like, these dogs, you gotta fucking lock them up.
And then the evil spirits traveled from the dogs to the goats.
Yes. I mean, goats are the house of the devil, aren't? Isn't that accepted?
I don't know that I've ever met a goat, but Justin has.
I hate goats. I lived with goats for a while when I lived in California. So,
Oh, like, explain.
so the place that we lived,
Like in your apartment, you had goats?
underneath of us, we lived in a barn.
Oh.
There's an apartment that was above a barn, and literally the night that I got there were baby goats that were born below us.
Aw.
And then there were lots of baby goats running around all over the place for the entirety of the time that I was there.
I'm assuming you didn't sleep.
That night I
lot.
did actually.
Wow.
I did not hear it. But I heard them every night afterwards.
Man.
Was this the place with the communist space heater?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an album name. I mean, goats have those weird flat pupils.
Horizontal
and
eyes.
that's enough to judge them that they're evil.
So the goat sacrificer man was right.
Yeah. Kill all of them.
Yeah, so they might be screwed after the episode 6. But yeah, Matt's just in an interesting predicament, and he confronts John again at the end after getting his wristbands back because the guy who stole his stuff is dead, killed by the goats.
I was kind of like taken aback by Matt's initial reaction to the kid. Like, give me back my wristband. That's mine. And it's like, dude, his dad just died.
I mean,
he's 8. Like, he
that's-
did
but that's-
take
that's
it off
That's
him.
his knee-jerk reaction, though, I
But
feel
it was
like.
sad because
'Cause
nobody comforted the kid like I wanted them to.
But then he did at the end.
At the end, he did, yes. He was
maybe
like,
not have
oh,
done
crap.
what he necessarily should have done and been like, hey, here's what happened. Remember that story I told you about being attacked? Here they are.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of backstory. It's like, he's on his own. Take care of him.
It was just Matt again being like, I want to suffer more, and found an opportunity to do that, which,
And dump his wife on his sister.
yeah, that was the most infuriating thing for me that Matt's done so far. Of like, I don't know, that one didn't even seem to have any sort of justification for.
No, he's just thinking about Mary and her needs and not the fact that Nora has a crazy boyfriend and a baby.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
To just have to take care of someone who has no function at all.
Yeah, between a baby and a comatose person, that's all you do all day
Yeah,
is take care of someone else.
So yeah, kind of a dick move by Matt. And then he goes to, I guess, pay penance for that. Like, don't worry, I'm already going to punish myself for it. And goes to save the man in the stockades who you can only free if you take their place. So yeah, very interesting. We've gone through all of episode 5. Before we move on to episode 6, does anyone have any interesting thoughts on episode 5?
I don't think so.
I think we talked it pretty well. Good sentence.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the meat of these episodes. The reason we're all here, episode 6. We start off with a man we've never seen before, who, honestly, gonna be real here. I don't know if it's Lindelof who's making these decisions on these music choices and stuff. This one felt the most egregious as far as, like, I really want this song in this show. It didn't feel like we needed to see half of what we were seeing of this guy.
Yeah.
Especially considering, at least as for the rest of the episode, we don't get him as really a character. He's just in the opening, but he is a man of science, and he does science things with science instruments, and he's very particular about these instruments. But he's not a people person. I mean, and then Nora ends up getting called by these people multiple times throughout the episode, and she finally talks to one of them after she learns of this lensing theory. How are we feeling about this new entity of science people, who also seem to be, it's kind of a pseudo-science-y thing is revealed that, I don't know, how do you guys feel about this? And the whole lensing theory in general.
Yeah. It's, man.
I mean, the lensing thing kind of fits in with what Cult Lady told Garvey and Matt and Garvey discussed at the diner. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm on board with the lensing thing. but the science demon people were there just put in the show to torture Nora.
Yeah, I appreciate what it's kind of doing to take Nora forward a little bit more with her storyline, to kind of give her something more to think about and act on, and kind of give her some more reasons behind what she's doing. I do think like we get some more really interesting world building here as well with all of this, because like there's this scientific group who is doing apparently legitimate research that they have funding for, and like the guy is able to get into a place where nobody else can get into based on the fact that he's doing research. And then we find out later that their theory is that Azrael, I think is the name of the demon, has like chosen Nora to be like his avatar. I don't know, avatar or something like
that is the Hebrew angel of death.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
vessel.
So like this very scientific thing that is legitimate within the world, like they have no fucking clue about what's going on, and so like this is the kind of stuff that is getting funded to try and piece everything together. Like,
We've been in contact with the Vatican.
yeah.
Oh man, I'm really hoping they are still in this show afterwards, because I want more of that.
I'd be up for it. They're like what's that show? I guess there's probably several of them of like ghost hunters on. It's like TLC or Discovery or one of those.
You mean Ghost Hunters?
Is it Ghost Hunters?
Yeah.
Okay. They're the Ghost Hunters. That's where their funding comes from. Is they have a reality show.
From the Vatican?
Yes.
The Pope is funding Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
What a
Yes.
wild business venture. Can you imagine? Like, I want to take
Exorcisms are down this year. We got to find somebody to get us hooked up.
I want to take out a loan. Yeah, for what? A bunch of ghost sensing equipment.
Someone funded that.
And they're like, oh, you're going to get us our money back by telling people whether or not there's ghosts in their house. And literally not doing anything else about it. Like, you're not like an exterminator. You're
Yeah.
just a...
Yep, there's ghosts.
Yes, you have termites. Now pay up.
I think I just came up with my new business idea.
But,
Hey, you could introduce the termites. Look, termites. Or are we doing ghosts?
We got to introduce a ghost. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's more fun.
that's
How
a little
does
harder.
one introduce a ghost aside from, murdering a person?
That's really...
I mean, we're not going to tell the bank that part of the business plan when we go in to lay this all out.
Oh, okay.
That's just how we fix the market.
That's like trade secrets.
Wait, we're fixing the housing market with ghosts now?
Oh, that's not a bad idea either.
Yeah, you kill enough people, there will be houses to buy. That's basic economics,
Oh
right?
my gosh, that's like the new, like, you have to get your house appraised, you have to have taps go in for the ghost hunting, and if there is a ghost, half price mortgage.
All right.
Perfect. Dang. Look at us.
Oh man. But then we don't get anything more of these people. Well, I mean, technically we do, but like
Yeah.
everything we've said is all we get from it, at least so far. And Nora's going a little wacky. I'm trying to remember what happens with Nora like in the first half of this episode, because I remember like the second half really well.
She throws the rock through her neighbor's window just seemingly out of the blue. Like, I don't understand the
I
resentment.
think it's because of John's treatment of her brother.
Oh, duh.
At least that's
Yes.
how I read it. But then she kind of like plays off the rest of the episode that that's not an issue for her, which is odd.
I mean, if I lived next to a crazy person like that, I would probably pretend like it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, Nora's interesting because, I mean, I guess the weirdest part about the whole thing comes at the end so we should probably talk about Erica first with
Yeah.
how she's handling everything and how there's a fundraiser coming up, which is apparently the hit event of the town. It's being treated like a ball almost. People are asking each other out to the fundraiser and all sorts of wild shit. We do learn she gets another pie at her door, which is similar to the pie she got before. And it's left by his name's Virgil, right? Is that what his...
The guy in the trailer? I
Yeah.
think so.
Oh yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
who the random teenager was.
Some kid that he paid to leave a pie there, probably. I'm assuming.
An old man going through town, approaching teenagers. You want to make $20? Drop this
Got
pie
this
off
pie.
at my daughter's house.
Is that okay?
I assume
Is that-
that's the relation,
Yeah.
but I could be wrong because they didn't explicitly say.
Oh man.
Maybe father-in-law.
Could be an uncle, could be a father-in-law. Man, John's a bit of an unstable guy. We see like we've seen them kind of like have moments of confrontation, but nothing super heavy. This was the episode where I feel like their relationship was really kind of laid out for us a little bit more, and we see her. She's always treating his victims apparently,
Yeah.
and kind of always coming to his defense. It seems like.
That's how it feels. Yeah, she doesn't seem to like really ask too many questions or anything, or just kind of like, yeah, I don't know.
But then at home, she calls him on doing violence to people's
Yeah,
bodies.
you hit people because you just have to hit people. Yeah, yeah, it's a really interesting thing. Obviously, we learned that Erica was planning on leaving John, which is kind of a big. That's like kind of the big reveal, I think, as to the association between Evie's disappearance and Erica wishing that Evie would be okay if she left. But yeah, up until this point, it's almost felt like Erica was sort of like almost an accomplice to everything that John was doing. And we find out in this episode that she doesn't really appreciate the stuff that he does and was about to just get out of town. And then her daughter went missing.
And John is just shocked about all this.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you think this hole in our window has something to do with me just burning people's houses down and beating the shit out of them?" Like, what? Where's this guy? Get off, man! Like,
And he's like, I'm really trying.
oh yeah,
Trying what, dude?
I didn't buy that moment for a fucking
No
second,
way. Yeah.
and I didn't get where I didn't know what I was supposed to feel there. Like, I didn't know if the showrunners were like, "See, John is trying." Or if it was like, look how fucked up their relationship is. Like, I'm not quite sure on the messaging there, but I definitely was the latter for me.
Yeah. I mean, we did learn he was in prison for attempted murder. So, like, after he got out, he has violent tendencies. And this is how he's letting them out, is by beating up charlatans. Like, I guess that has a noble intent, but why are we beating them up?
Yeah, I mean,
Or people that he thinks are charlatans. Like, not
Yeah.
even. Well, never mind. Just kidding. Because the Australian dude who's selling the water is legitimately selling water to kind of like. He's like, people are paying for it, so I didn't do anything wrong. And then John was like, yeah, bullshit. You're selling a lie, so I'm going to beat the shit out of you. But, yeah. John is an interesting character because, like, this is going to sound really bad, but I resonate with John a little bit because, like, I don't appreciate people selling lies. And so I kind of like, I'm not going to go beat people up for that, but, like, I kind of get his angle a little bit, I think.
Well, I think it's perfectly possible to sympathize with his beef without
motivations
agreeing
or
with
whatever.
his methods.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's a difference too that John doesn't see of people like Matt, who don't believe it. So
Yeah.
to them, it's not necessarily a lie. They just might be wrong. Whereas there's people who are purposely. I mean, technically, his son's one of them. His
Yeah.
son is stealing water and selling it as advertising for his church, type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the son comes clean about it though. Like when the people who were trying to buy the water asked,
Yeah.
"Will this make us safe?" He's just, he said it's just water.
Yeah, I mean, like his goal is not to make money, but it's to traffic his church. So he's just getting a different reward,
Yeah, that's true.
and which I mean, you could argue like one is better than the other because maybe his belief is that they will be helped by going to church or
Right.
whatever. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If we could go down to Provo River and sell vials of Provo River water for $500 a vial, would we do it?
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I wouldn't tell people this is going to heal you, but if they wanted to buy it from me because they thought it, well, I don't know.
I mean,
'cause
is there really any
if they were going to
difference
drink it.
than buying 2 copies of the limited edition Zelda DS and marking up the price and being like, this is better because it's gold and it has Zelda written on it?
Yeah. Or, I mean, Nestle buys tap water and sells it in their bottles with their label on it, right? Isn't that what they do? Mm-hmm. It's just business, Gwen.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I do the water thing, but like if someone wanted weeds from my backyard and wanted to pay for them, I wouldn't tell them that it was going to like heal their cancer. But if you want to buy my shit,
if they were
fine.
clear about their intentions, like, hey, we think the weeds in your backyard are going to cure my cancer.
I mean, I would try and
My
talk
doctors
them
have
out of
told me
that.
that's not going to, but I believe that God has blessed your weeds. Would you sell it to them?
I don't know, man. How much are they paying me?
$200 a weed.
We're selling weed out of our backyard for $200.
I guess.
So what we've gotten to?
I've come to purchase one weed. Thank you. Oh, you know what I learned that I didn't know? There's a difference between a joint and a spiff. Is that what it's called?
Spliff?
Spliff. And then there's a third one. But one of them has tobacco in it. One of them has tobacco and something else in it. And one of them's just marijuana. And I don't remember which one is
Tobacco
which.
and marijuana is
Yeah.
mixed together. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
is
that
it a
didn't need to be said.
blunt?
I just...
Is a blunt the other one?
Yes, a blunt. A blunt's the other one.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know there was a difference between them.
Yeah.
That's on our Patreon. You can see Gwen
We'll have a diagram.
do a blindfold test on which one she prefers.
Gwen has her own show called Gwen on Drugs.
Because I definitely know how to smoke.
You know how to breathe, Gwen? You know how to smoke.
I mean, some days.
Yeah, when you're having a panic attack, supplement that with weed, and it's a trip. But anyway, we just asked a very soul-drinking question. Katie has taken a bit of a break and come back to us. We're talking about the water selling, people selling the water. The guy gets beat up by John for selling the water.
Yeah.
And Justin says he identifies with John, which had me concerned at first, but he's identifying with the idea that he doesn't like people selling a lie.
So do you want to go beat people up with me, Katie? That's where we're going, right?
I'm more on the, like, this may make me a dishonest person, but it's like, if they're gonna buy it, like
So you're gonna be selling weed with Gwen then?
Yeah,
That's the other side of the conversation.
I'm not gonna like put the bottles. I probably wouldn't do any of it, but if I was gonna be on a definite side, I would be like, I'll put the water bottles on the table. I'm not gonna like try and sell the water bottles to people, but if people come up and are like, I would like to buy your water bottles, I would be like, cool. I don't know if I'd sell it for that much
special
money.
water though? Are you putting up a sign?
I mean, don't they have that little farmer's market of?
Yeah, but if you just have water bottles, they don't know if that water. You could have bought that water at the store.
No, I'm saying I'm not gonna like go up to people and be like, "You want the magic water?" I'm just gonna.
Oh, you have a sign that says water for
sit
sale.
Sit at my table, wait for people to come to me if they want to come to me. Sure, I probably wouldn't do this at all, but I wouldn't beat people up over doing that. You know, if they want to have the magic water to make them feel better, then they can. Then they feel better. I wouldn't sell it for that much money. That would make me feel a little worse than how I would initially feel selling them fake
You're kind of backtracking here.
water. I'd sell it for like
See,
maybe
as
like
you're talking it
$100
through-
a bottle.
As you're talking it through, you're kind of realizing that people deserve to set their houses on fire when they do this.
No, maybe like a fine. Like you're fined for doing this shitty thing. Not punching him in the face and beating the shit out of him, then sending him to your wife who's the nurse and being like, good luck with her and her stitches. She's on the side of the people that fucked you up. I don't know. I'm not on their side, so Justin can go beat people up and I'll just look the other way.
Man, good to know where everyone stands at the table. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird thing, man.
Are you beating people up or selling the water, Tyler?
I'm not doing either.
No, you have to do one of them.
No, let me tell you why I'm not doing either. Because I get anxiety when I have to try and post something on Craigslist. Like, that whole thing, like, I avoid doing it. I will take a $200 loss because I don't want to deal with strangers. So I'm definitely not setting up kiosks or anything, going out of my way. I want people to give me money to do nothing. So maybe the fact that I'm just from that area, I'm like, you get a bask in my presence. I can, talk to you for a bit. That'll be 50 cents a conversation. Make some gas money.
You could put like an entire plexiglass box over your house and just do your thing, and then people could come and like take pictures of you while you're there, right?
Yeah, or you just do the hustle of the bride thing where she was wearing a dress because that's what happened, and now she's part of a tour.
I wondered what that was, so I
And
was
you
glad they clarified
Charge for pictures.
that.
Yeah, we did get kind of we're kind of jumping all over the place, like timing wise with this episode, but the dump at the end with Erica just kind of laying the whole town out for us felt really good to just kind of get some like solid answers on a lot of things all at once like that. It was nice.
Yeah, it was very Bobby Briggs funeral moment.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, I don't know. John's situation is weird. I mean, John's a fascinating character. I love his character in the show. As a person, I hate him. I think he's, but I think he does kind of represent certain groups of people that we see today. Of maybe we might align with their opinions or line of thinking, but like the way they handle it might be not the best. I don't know. I'm a strong believer of like the ends don't necessarily justify the means. You have to keep a hold of your morality when trying. That's why it's hard to be good. That's why being a good person is a hard thing, because you have to stick to the rules of your moral compass, whatever that may be for yourself. Or I mean, I guess I don't know. That's a whole fucking tangent. But anyway, John's not even in this episode that much. We spent too much time on it. Erica is just slaughtering birds and is not she opens up a little bit about it, but I thought it interesting that she wasn't very forthcoming of how many birds she was actually killing, which I think could have helped her case a little bit more if she had said how many she was actually killing. Because Nora meets a fellow coworker from her old job who has a new questionnaire. And this is where Nora's motivations kind of got a little blurry for me. I don't know if you guys got a different read on it of why she is so interested in this new questionnaire. Like, is it simply to fuck over her neighbors? Is it because she's just curious? Is it because she wants some closure for herself? I'm very confused of why she is stealing them and then going to Erica to read them to her.
Yeah. Go ahead, Katie.
I was gonna say, I felt like it was totally her trying to like make herself feel better. Like she wanted to know what was on the questionnaire so that she could then like rule out that it was her fault that her family disappeared. That's why she looked into the I can't remember what it was called. Lensing thing. That's why she was like I don't know. I got a weird read from her reaction to Erica. Like, that, to me, that was confusing. But I felt like she reacted that way because she was, like, trying to justify, like, she doesn't want it to be her fault that her family disappeared. So she's trying to, like, do everything she can to justify that it's just this random thing that happened and it's no one's fault. And so she was looking in the questionnaire to see if there was any other things that they've surmised that could be why everyone disappeared.
She also is very invested in the idea that the three girls disappearing was not another departure and has nothing to do with her. Not just the first time around, but this second supposed departure. And so I think she took the questionnaire over there to answer that for herself and make sure that it wasn't another departure. Because that would make her feel safer.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I was feeling until that last moment that you brought up of her, kind of her reaction. I was kind of like, what was the point of all this, Nora? Like, I am confused of why, if she feels like, I don't know.
It was, your children did not disappear into thin air. Fuck you.
Yeah, why?
It was very hostile.
Yeah, I guess the hostility of, because I don't know, I wasn't sure if the hostility was intended from the beginning or if it slowly turned into that over the time. I don't know. I don't know.
It felt pretty hostile from the beginning to me.
I mean, when she said, "You don't remember the last thing your daughter said to you," and then I loved it when Erica threw that back in her face because I was like, because she didn't remember, and it's like, I don't know. I felt like that to me was. I like Erica's character because she is not going to take shit. And I felt like Nora was giving shit. Like at first I felt like it was more of just justification for her and not wanting to be at fault for what happened. But then she started being kind of rude about it. And I was like, oh, okay. But I mean, the bird thing, if Mary wakes up, the bird thing could totally happen. Like that seems just as plausible.
But, like, why would the other two girls disappear, too?
Yeah. I don't know. Vicinity. They're in the same vicinity as Nora. But then it's, like, or as Evie, but it doesn't make sense. I keep forgetting the word.
Lensing?
Lensing, yes, lensing. Because Nora was around Evie, but Nora wasn't around the other two girls.
Yeah, they just came and picked, they came and picked Evie up, but...
Yeah,
But how close do you have to be?
I think the lensing theory holds credence for the original Departures, but not for Evie and her friend's case because of that. And like we mentioned earlier, how lensing goes hand in hand with the guilty remnants theory. But yeah, I don't know. Nothing fucking matters in this show, though. Like we
It's all
said,
fake.
it's like, why are we even talking about this? Because it doesn't fucking matter. All of it's coincidence. I'm very angry about it. But yeah,
But we got the goats explained. That at least we got that right.
Stop it, Jerry. Stop.
I mean, I feel for Jerry, man. He like is clearly a Jewish man who understands the power of goat's blood, and no one takes him seriously on that. Well, actually, no. A lot of people apparently did in that town. A lot of people were like, "Let him do it," and they just kind of tolerate this man literally spilling gallons of blood every day at different locations around town.
With his tiny little plastic sheet.
He must have a wonderful supplier of goats if he's going through that many. But they're doing these things every day, and I think that's a fascinating bit about the town that we kind of learned in this episode of lots of people are doing the same routine every day just in case of...
That would be so stressful.
Yeah.
And John apparently is okay with that stuff. Like I didn't.
Yeah.
Because Erica like called him out on that, right, in front of everybody.
I kind of get that, though, because you remember the other night you were saying something and I kept knocking on wood. Like, I'm not superstitious, but for some reason I have to knock on wood if you say something that makes me nervous. Like, I know it's bullshit, but I still do it.
Well, I think the difference is, too, they're not, like, trying to sell that to anyone.
Yeah.
Well, the bride lady might be.
Yeah, why is the bride not getting her face bashed in?
I don't know.
Because then the show would make us dislike John even more because he's beating women, and they won't play their cards that heavily. But yeah, it seems like the goat guy's not selling that concept to anyone. He's just doing it for himself.
I think he just likes to kill goats.
I mean, that could
And
be
he's
it.
like, score. Now I can kill goats
Maybe
every
that's
day
why
forever.
John identifies with him as like, you like to kill goats. I like to punch the shit out of people. I get it. Yeah, I mean, I think we finally learned what the bird thing was. I think that's interesting because she's getting mad at everyone else for doing the same thing she's doing, essentially.
Yeah.
And then we kind of end the episode with Nora going back home, and Kevin's tells her about Patty. And
Yeah, we've had this entire ride with Nora through this episode, and then we get Kevin on the couch just like in tears drinking a beer. Like he has been dealing with some shit while this has all been going on, and like finally come to a place where he's like, I need to tell you what I've been going through. So I appreciated that. I thought that was a really it was nice to know that like Kevin's journey is still happening in parallel with all of this other stuff that's going on. It was a nice touch to see that.
Yeah, Kevin has. I find it interesting that Kevin, kind of being the main protagonist of season 1, has had next to no. He holds the power the least out of anyone about any of the characters this season so far.
Yeah.
Like he's had a couple moments in that episode with John where he's going with John to the thing, but even the moments where he does have like the power in a scene, he's still throughout the whole sequence technically not, because he's like the one who is like, oh shit, am I going to get found out? Like during that whole thing. So I find it interesting that that's where his character is, and like he's just constantly kind of along for the ride. Like when Nora's stealing the papers, he's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about the ramifications of him? Because I mean, we saw what happened to his dad when he told people what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
They put him in a home, right?
Yeah.
Or the asylum, not a home. I don't know. But Nora's kind of like a different kind of person herself on how she handles shit like that.
Yeah. Just real quick, I think like it's fun to think about like what was Patty telling Kevin while Nora was stealing that stuff? Like what is it that Patty's been saying during all of this stuff? It's like 'cause she wasn't even in this episode at all, and yet we've got Kevin talking about Patty. But yeah, anyways. Sorry, what was the question?
Just the ramifications of Kevin making this confession.
Yeah. Oh man, Patty, like what you brought up in your summary, where Patty wanted Kevin to tell people first. I can't remember.
Yeah, she was like, "What you should tell people." Like,
yeah,
Or like, if you loved them, then you would tell them about me.
that's right. Yeah, and now she apparently is telling him that it was a big mistake, which I feel like that's a thing that. Is that a thing for people who hear voices or see other people that like? Because I'm trying to remember. I feel like I've seen other shows where when somebody finally confesses that they're seeing other people or they're hearing voices or whatever, the voices tell them, "You shouldn't have done that. That was the wrong thing to do." Is that a thing?
I have
Do you
no
know?
idea.
Okay.
I don't know. Did you guys get taken to the mental hospital in sociology?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like the
that
most
was a
boring
bad-
field trip I've ever been on. I thought we were gonna see some crazy shit, and it was so
What
boring.
do you think they're gonna do? Take us to like each room, be like, look in the window, watch this man chop his genitals off. Like,
I thought it was kind of gross that they took us. Like, I don't know. It's not a zoo, man.
well,
Well,
I mean, they didn't.
Yeah.
They only just stuck us in a room and talked to us about it. They didn't. Did you guys like get
no.
a tour?
I mean, I guess we didn't.
No, we didn't get a tour.
But
Because to me, that's a good sociology thing. It's like you need to be aware of these mental illnesses and that people like this exist, and this is how society
I guess
deals
that's
with
true.
them.
I just
And
fucking hated that class.
we had to listen. Did they give you like the headphones and you like listen to like the
I
audio
think-
of what it's like to hear voices?
I think, yeah.
Maybe?
I think we did do that.
Yeah, it's nothing like how it's shown in shows like this. It's
Yeah.
very much more nightmarish, and it was a tape constructed with help from people with paranoid schizophrenia who hear voices and listen to it and be like, yes, this is what I hear, and telling them, no, make it more like this type of thing. So
That's terrifying.
it was fascinating because it was horrifying because it's multiple voices. Some of them are whispering inaudibly, some of them are like screeching in pain and stuff, and just yelling at them, telling them, like tearing them down a lot was a lot of what the voices were saying, like, fuck you, you suck, like, go kill yourself. Like, it was very profanity laden and very violent and disturbing. So it's I don't know if there are any mental illnesses where you actually have just like a companion with you. I'd be interested to learn about those if that is a real thing. But yeah, so I that's all I really learned about it, though. I didn't really hear of like anyone's firsthand experience of like what happened when you realized this was a mental illness and talk to people about it. It was just like, this is a thing that happens.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is just based on the movie, but didn't John Nash like actually see people, like specific characters that played out in his own personal
Yeah, I don't know what the difference between like what actually happened in real life versus what was shown for the movie
Yeah.
with that. Yeah, I don't know.
Man,
Not sure.
Answer is we don't know.
the brain's a weird thing.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
then-
Kevin. With the whole, I'm started seeing another woman or whatever. I started seeing somebody, and then finally he says like I'm seeing them now, which that still isn't even like super clear. But Nora finally pieces it together and gets it. I think.
Yeah, was that supposed to be a misdirect? Do you feel like? Because
Not for us, but I think for Nora, definitely.
oh yeah, well yeah. Because just because of Nora's reaction, I wasn't getting like a "you're cheating on me" type of vibe. So I wasn't sure if it's like the writers just making a poor choice to repeat, or if it was intentional to like throw the scene, like the tone of the scene off, or what.
I thought that her reaction might have played into that a little bit because I thought there was a little bit of like relief that she had on her face when she finally realized that it wasn't like an affair.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It was just Kevin being stupid, I guess.
I guess with the baggage of him telling her on their first meeting that he cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
And then her husband cheating on her. Yeah, I feel like her
She's like,
reaction
I'm gonna
would
cut a
be,
bitch. Had a day.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And then then Erica throws a rock through their window and doesn't run away like a bitch. She stares
Neighbor
them
It
down.
on the
relationships, man.
Pointed her eyes through the window.
Yeah, who are these people who have problems with their neighbors?
Not me.
They need to get a Facebook group, and then all the drama can happen online instead of
Oh,
throwing
it's-
rocks through windows.
I eat that up. Whenever anyone is like arguing in the comments, I'm like, all right, pull out my ice cream. Entertainment.
Yeah, it's pretty good and horrifying.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen between these two loving, wonderful families. Hopefully they can patch things over, but I'm betting not. We got 4 episodes left. Anyone want to take any bets on the likelihood of getting any answers on where the fuck Evie is?
No. I'm not betting on that. Cuz I don't think we're getting anything. I guess that's my bet actually.
I bet she comes back at the last episode. That's mine.
It was my senior Cabo trip. Didn't you guys remember?
We caught a plane from the pond. Forgot to turn our car off. Yeah, I'm really interested to see. Honestly, my big question is John making it out of this season alive? Like, I feel like with everything he's doing, something's got to catch up to him eventually. Whether it be through the Garveys or through just the world itself. Maybe not whether or not he's gonna die or not, but just something's gotta give with his storyline. I think that
Yeah.
is gonna come to a head, and I really hope we get something kind of similar, at least to last season, on the level of answering where Evie went, as equivalent to how much of an answer we got for where everyone else, at least how or why they disappeared in the first season.
Well, and hopefully we'll get a better idea around John's motivations the same way we got the curly-haired cult lady.
Patty?
No.
Oh, Lori.
Lori, yes.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about how Tommy's all of a sudden gone. That Lori calls her.
Oh, man. Who do you expect to not call you the very most? Your husband's or your boyfriend's ex-wife who didn't speak for 3
And who didn't have your number.
years. Yeah.
Be like, where's my kid?
So awkward. Is Tommy with you?
Okay, bye.
Yeah, weird. Good riddance. Fuck Tommy.
I hope Tommy disappears. Freaking hate Tommy. His douchey face.
That's a horrible thing to say, Catherine.
I mean, you hate Tommy too.
I mean, I hate Tommy too. But Gwen, how are you feeling about Tommy? We know you think he's a great actor,
Yeah.
but How do you feel about his character?
I don't know, man. I don't like being the fake Jesus. That really, I mean, like maybe this is me being a hypocrite about selling the water. Don't be Jesus, guys. I don't like it.
Sell magic water, sure, but don't be Jesus.
Yes. There you go. That's my philosophy.
That's a step too far from the water.
You think that maybe he's bought into his own lie and he's gone off on his pilgrimage to Australia where everyone's fucking going?
I don't know, maybe. I think he's just having the same problem that everyone else is having, is there's no fucking meaning to anything and everyone's suffering and so yeah, he went to Australia.
The Holy Land.
Australia.
Well,
our podcast is going to be in Australia next week.
Oh yeah, a special Australia episode.
Yeah.
We'll see how many of us survive with all them giant spiders and radioactive scorpions they got over there. Yeah, any closing thoughts on these episodes before we do a mercy kill on this episode?
I mean, since I'm on the episode, I hate the intro so much. The intro can go fucking die.
Are you kidding
Really?
me?
I love it.
Oh, man.
It tears my soul up every time I watch it, and I have to flip off the TV. It hurts.
Okay,
me
that's
so
all right.
bad.
Fair
Oh,
enough. I thought
okay.
you were...
When he's holding the two babies, and one of them's gone.
Okay.
Okay, that's all. That's all I had to say. Nobody brought it up before.
I just love that song.
Well, we did talk about
the
that
song
intro.
is so good.
But we didn't talk about the emotional ramifications we're all going through. So
Yeah, I hate it.
thanks for bringing that to all of our attention. Cool. Well, this is the end of the Tyler Harris's podcast. Obviously, we have missed him very much. I am a horrible host. We will have him back next week, though. I'll make sure that his plumbing gets fixed. But if you want to talk to us, any of us, leave us a message, talk about The Leftovers. Tyler Harris desperately wants someone to talk to him about Twin Peaks because he mentions it every week. So if you have Twin Peaks questions, comments, or concerns, send them to us at RewatchersPod. On Twitter, it's at RewatchersPod. Email is rewatcherspod@gmail.com, or is it on the pod? I don't even know our own fucking email. Just tweet us. Don't email us right now because I don't know what it is. Go back at
Or
episode.
just listen to a previous episode
yeah.
where we know what we're doing. Yeah.
And yeah, ask any questions. Tell us how you feel about Tommy, that piece of shit. And we stick around after the break for some recommendations. Welcome back to Rewatchers on the Pod recommendations section. The reason we're all here, why we record an hour-long podcast or so we can get to this good stuff. I will start us off today where I did some things. The first thing I did was I played a video game called Near Replicant, bunch of fucking numbers, and it's a remake of the prequel to Nier Automata, which is the critical darling from a couple years ago. That is actually a really good game. And so I definitely was interested in this one, and they've reworked it a lot to play a lot more like Nier Automata. However, all the reviews are saying, the first 10 hours really aren't great, and you're going to have to slug through them to get to the good stuff. I have only played like 6 or 7 hours, so I'm still in the drudgery of this game that's really hard to motivate myself to keep going. Starts off really slow. So it's a hesitant recommendation right now. If you're one of those people that just can't handle that, this game is not for you. It is it's a very bizarre game of, we'll just put it this way. The guy who made it always wears a mascot head. He never has made any public appearances without this crazy mascot head on. And he's just a weird dude. So it's a weird game, and I will definitely follow up with it more next week. Trying to think if I did anything else really. Can't think of it. But Justin, I'm actually going to tag team you on this one because
Okay.
last night
Yeah,
you and I watched a movie,
we did.
and it is the new Mortal Kombat movie.
It was a movie. Yeah, and I think I've decided that it's an anti-recommendation. I don't know for sure because I feel like if you like like if you watch the Mortal Kombat movie that was made in the 90s and you enjoy it for what it is, a stupid movie, then sure, go ahead and watch the new one because that's basically what the new one is as well. I liked like when you were leaving last night, I liked how you put like that was the most 90s movie you've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really apt description for this. I did think like while we were watching it, I remember feeling like, man, when are we going to get to like the good stuff? When is something actually going to happen? And like there is some like satisfying like Mortal Kombat stuff in this movie, and like there's some fun things that happen, but like I realized afterwards last night thinking about it, like I was kind of bored like a lot during this movie. So like it wasn't as action packed as I wanted it to be, even though there was some really cool stuff that did happen. Like I really like I don't think this is a spoiler or anything because it's shown in the trailers, but there's a fight with, I think the character's name is Goru or Goru. Goro. Yeah, Goro. I thought that was a decent like fight scene. Like it was a giant monster that's getting beat up. Like that was enjoyable. And then like later on where there's, I'm going to spoil a little bit. Like we get like these like arena fights where people are fighting in different like maps basically, like, and those moments where we're finally getting like people fighting each other, that was like, yeah, this is what I wanted to watch in this movie. I don't care about all of the Mortal Kombat lore that we have to slog through to finally get to seeing people kill each other. Like just give that to me right off the bat. But yeah.
Yeah, I think.
What'd you think?
I mean, I think I'm with you on that one. I don't know. I went in very confused because the first trailer looked like, it's gonna be hard to put this how I want to put it. Surprisingly good, but also really shitty.
Yeah.
So I was very confused going into what I was going to be watching, and I realized very quickly, oh, it's just a bullshit 90s action movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know, part of me is like satisfied with it for what it is, but part of me is also like, even making it a stupid 90s shitty movie, they could have done a better job, I think. Like the amount of locations we're taking on in this adventure movie is what it sells itself as, kind of, is like 2.
Yeah.
There's like 2 or 3 places we go. The main character is, I mean, this is kind of going to the 90s feel. The main character is doesn't have any character flaws. His only flaw is that he needs to get better at fighting.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing he needs to like personally overcome, which is a very like characteristic thing of like action movie main protagonists in the 90s. So not a lot going there, but I mean, you're there to see Mortal Kombat, right? So it's like you're there for like that fight sequence at the beginning is really cool.
Yeah.
The Scorpion, and a lot of like the fatality stuff, but like honestly, really some bad casting. Like some of the people they get in this are not good.
Who did you not like?
I didn't like anyone.
Okay.
pretty much anyone, man. There's we talked about I can't remember his name. It's the Japanese guy they get for anything an American movie. Anytime they need a Japanese grizzly samurai guy, they get this guy, and he plays Scorpion. He's good for what he has in this movie. He's really the only one I feel like that pulls his fucking weight. Granted, the script's not really in favor for anyone, but like I didn't love the casting of. I mean, you could maybe argue that like Jax and Sonya were well cast, I guess, for what they had to work with.
Yeah.
Which isn't a whole lot, but I mean,
what did you think of Kano? Is that his name?
Oh, the Australian
yeah.
guy. I mean, that's another scenario of like, I guess he's cast well.
Yeah.
His character's written in such a way that it's like, I don't know. That character archetype is like not my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. If you want to see a Mortal Kombat movie and you were a fan of Michael Bay's Transformers, I think you're going to love this. So take that for the recommendation that it is. Did you have any other recommendations besides Mortal Kombat?
I think so. I started playing XCOM 2 a little while ago. I played through the first XCOM, well, Enemy Unknown, because I think XCOM is like a super old game that goes back a while. But I played through Enemy Unknown a few years ago. Had a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. But I think I've just gotten old because I started playing XCOM 2 and it's the same thing, like a strategy game, and I just was like, this is just boring now. Like, it's frustrating because it's a dice rolling game. Like, it's probabilities, and sure, the strategy that goes into that, like, you want to maximize your probability that you're going to be successful when you are going to shoot an alien or whatever. But like, I don't want to play a game where it tells me I have a 90% probability I'm going to hit somebody and then I miss. Like, I get that it's still a probability, and I get that there's like a bunch of stuff behind the scenes that's helping my chances after that happens, that I'm going to be successful on the mission or whatever. But I'm just like, I don't know. Like I said, I think I'm just getting too old for that shit. I don't know. It just isn't, it wasn't fun. So as much as I like the idea of the game, and I thought that was my kind of game, but I uninstalled it this week after playing like 10 hours, I think. Like, I don't have time to sit through this, and I'm not going to force myself to enjoy it anymore. So yeah, I don't know. That's not, like, if you enjoy strategy games, check it out, I guess. Like, XCOM is I think a good strategy game, but it's not for me anymore, which is really weird to say. And then just one other thing. I finally played through Super Hot. I sat down and actually like played through it start to finish. I've only ever played like maybe 15, 20 minutes before. And yeah, that's a good indie game. If you haven't played Super Hot yet, you should check it out. It's really, I mean, I think everybody who would be interested in playing it has probably already played it at this point. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I think the studio just recently like released a like DLC for it or something as well that was free to everybody who previously owned it. And I haven't played through that yet, but I'm going to get to it and check that out as well. So yeah, Super Hot's fun.
Sweet. I forgot one that I did. I watched a show on Netflix called Way of the House Husband, which is I mean, it's an anime, but it's more like, it's the most low budget anime I've ever watched in my life. It's pretty much just moving storyboards. And I wasn't sure about it at first, but I had a hell of a time. It's only 5 episodes, and technically it's 30 episodes crammed into 5 episode slots, because each episode's like 2 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
And it's just like little bits. The premise is there's a Yakuza boss who is known as the Immortal Dragon, who just kicked the shit out of every other Yakuza clan in Tokyo, and then eventually decided, you know what, I need to get married and settle down and be a house husband while my wife works. And basically it's just gags of him going through like these everyday mundane tasks, but putting the intensity of like this Yakuza warlord in it. And it is so much fun. Like, you do have to like sit through like the shitty animation. Like, that's just kind of the price of admission for this thing. But it's actually one of the few that like I'm watching it with the English voice cast, because I love that guy's performance so much as him. And he's like, oh man, there's so many good bits in it. Like, he's shopping, and then he comes across this guy who's this Yakuza boss who went to prison, and while that guy was in prison, he slaughtered his whole gang. So now this other Yakuza boss is selling crepes in a crepe truck. And so they're like, you know how we got to settle this? And then they have like a dessert off where they make like he uses the groceries he just bought to like make this parfait, and then they both post it on their Instagram, and whoever gets the most likes like wins. And it's wonderful. So I mean, I would highly recommend it. I mean, just, it's pretty accessible. I mean, like, if you watch the first like episode, you'll know whether you want to continue on, and it's only like 5 more episodes anyway. So anyway, sorry I took too long. Katie, you had something.
So I just finished Fargo season 2. Tyler and I watched Fargo season 1 like
5 years ago.
Yeah, like 2015, forever ago, which was awesome. And then we started watching Fargo season 2, and it just never took off for us. And so I finished rewatching this millions of series I rewatch all the time, and thought I'd try something new. Definitely would recommend it. Patrick Wilson does a really good job. He's in a lot of other things, and I feel like I just like Patrick Wilson. Kirsten Dunst is in it too, which she's kind of hit and miss for me, but in this does a really, really awesome job. And Jesse Plemons is in it, who is in Breaking Bad. So I hated his face the first time I saw him, but then he's a really likable character in that. And then I started Fargo season 3, and wouldn't you know, Carrie Coon, Nora Durst, is in it. She's popping up everywhere. I see her in every show I start watching. I watched Gone Girl. She's in that. But she's in Fargo season 3. I'm only a few episodes in, but it's really good so far. Acting is top notch. You got the girl from Scott Pilgrim, so she's enjoyable to watch.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead?
Yep. She's in it. Lupin is in it. David Thewlis. And he's disgusting. They do something to his teeth that, he's just gross. Anyway, everyone does a good job. It's pretty good so far. And then Handmaid's Tale season 4, I
There are
believe.
4 seasons of that?
It
Holy
might
cow.
be 3. I'm trying to remember. No, yeah. Handmaid's Tale season 4 is coming out on Wednesday. I took the day off so I could watch it. The first 3 episodes are dropping, and yeah.
Is it? I mean, you're taking time off to watch it. Like, obviously, you're going to recommend it. Should I watch it? Like, do I need to watch it?
I'll watch it with you if you do.
I mean, you should watch it.
Okay.
I have like
Have you
30
watched
days
it?
off to take this year,
I have not
so
watched
taking a day off is not. I'm just like doing it to suck it up, but
I've never had anything against watching it. I've always been interested in it until, honestly, a lot of the fan base of people who are really passionate about it are the people who I'm like, my tastes do not line up with
Yeah.
at all. So that has kind of turned me off of making it a priority on my list. But Katie loves it, and I like Katie, so
you like me or you love me?
I love you, and we do like some of the same things.
Yeah, I mean, I think the acting in it is great. Elizabeth Moss does a great job. I like her, and she's just a great actress. I forgot the actress's name, but Patty is in it from The Leftovers, and she is. Every time she came on screen on The Leftovers, I was like, oh, I fucking love her. She's so good. She's amazing in this. So she's always going to be Aunt Lydia because that's who she is in Handmaid's Tale. It is definitely worth watching. It will make you hate men and religion. When I watched it,
Pretty much already there on both of those, I
Yeah.
think.
when I watched it, I was like, oh, no. Like, just some of the ceremonial things they do hit a little too close to home for me and made me feel kind of sad. And then with the whole political climate, it just got worse. And it was like, oh. But definitely worth watching. Yeah, season 4. I don't feel like it's terribly violent. There's a lot of rape scenes in there, obviously, that make you not feel very happy, like most rape scenes
Yeah, I was
do.
gonna say.
But yeah,
Got your
definitely.
top 5 favorite happy rape scene.
But it's worth watching.
All right, sweet. Gwen, what do you got for us?
Okay, so I finished Loch Lamora 2, which was the Red Seas Under Red Skies. It was a whole big pirate battle. It was amazing.
Oh, this is your pirate one you're
That
talking
was
about.
my pirate one, and they pulled off their heist, and it was great. And now they're done being pirates in book 3, and they're being like, they've been put in charge of stealing an election, and their former friend is in charge of trying to steal the election from the other side. And there's all sorts of hijinks. There were snakes in a carriage, and it's all very ridiculous and fun, and I'm having a good time with that one.
Sounds like somebody's D&D campaign.
It kind of feels like that, honestly. Like, it's just
Yeah.
the author had a good time being silly and writing it pretty well. So yeah, it's a good time. I don't know, 3/4 of the way through that, and I think there's a 4th book coming out soon. So I know that we don't get a whole wrap up. And then I blew through All Systems Red and Artificial Condition by Martha Wells, which are the first 2 novellas in the Murderbot Diaries, and it feels like the Imperial Ratch series meets The Expanse. And okay, so AI
Is Imperial Rat Shoes the one with like the weird anus creature you guys were talking about a while ago?
No, that was a different book, which I didn't like very much.
That anus creature.
That's what had me wanting to read it.
It ended in a boring way. But the Imperial Ratch series is great. But between the Anne Leckie books, the Imperial Ratch, and the Murderbot Diaries, AIs with anxiety are my new favorite sci-fi trope. And I adore it, and it's great. The premise is this murder bot murdered a survey team, like went off the rails, killed everybody, named themselves Murderbot, and then like is still getting rented out to different survey teams, and it's their story, and it's fantastic. They're very sassy. Yeah, that's it.
Sweet. Well, hope you've had as wonderful of a time as I have had hosting this show. It's meant a lot to me that you were here with us. I'm your host, Tyler McKinley. Oh, and we've all been here together as
Justin Hammer. We are all here as Justin Hammer.
And Katie McKinley.
And Gwen Hammer.
Bye.
Goodbye.